want to tell me what's going on with the NAR settlement?
The NAR settled the lawsuit some time ago, a series of lawsuits over the last couple of months. Every realtor MLS is covered by that lawsuit. And as it turns out, every non-realtor MLS has the opportunity to participate in the lawsuit settlement as well. And the majority of non-realtor MLSs will do that.
What are the main changes, right? We know that we have to change documentation.
Yeah, our target date, by the way, there's a dead stop on August 17th, but we've selected August 5th for this MLS.
So on August 5th, what does that mean, August 5th is a target date?
The two big changes, number one, the MLS will no longer indicate a compensation between our sellers and buyers agents. That's number one. That'll require a new listing agreement, okay, which we are preparing. And on the other side, a major requirement is that before an agent takes a buyer out to show a property, the very first property, there has to be a buyer agency agreement.
Now we have created that buyer agency agreement for our members. Yes, we have. Right, and it's a fillable form that we're going to be rolling out to everybody.
Both of those forms will be there and they'll be available to us.
So on August 5th, right, compensation will no longer be present in the MLS.
The buyer agency agreement is going to have to identify certain things. Termination date, number one, how much compensation the buyer is going to guarantee the buyer's agent.
And whether it's exclusive or non-exclusive.
Whether it's an exclusive agreement or a non-exclusive agreement. And how the compensation is going to be calculated and when it's going to get paid. So those things are requirements.
Right, so there's a timeline, could be anywhere from one showing through X amount of months.
Agent has to talk with his buyer about his value to the presentation.
So that buyer representation agreement has to be specific in terms of what the agent is being compensated.
That's right.
If, for example, you're working for a 1% fee as a buyer agent, right? And there is compensation being offered from the listing broker, which let's say would be 2%, right? You're only entitled to the 1% at that point.
That's right. Under the agreement, the agreement that you make with your buyer, okay, identifies the top line that you're entitled to in terms of compensation, whether it comes directly from the buyer or it comes from the other side, from the seller. So the agreement has to talk about that, and it's got to be very clear as to how that compensation is calculated. The big thing, of course, again, is that you can't show somebody a property until you have one of those agreements in place.
This shows how important the buyer consult is actually going to be now moving forward. Right? And how much of a skills market this is going to be, where I think for our members it's going to be certainly very important for them to really get up to speed on buyer agency, buyer representation, how to present an offer correctly, and start engaging now with listing agents to discuss if there is any cooperative split.
Which puts the onus on the listing agent to have a similar discussion when he takes a listing with his seller and explain how that request for compensation, if you want to call it that, may come in various ways.
Correct. Could be most offers. I think you're going to look at subject to transactions, right?
I know some of the questions that are coming up from amongst our members are, if we no longer have compensation through the MLS, why do we need an MLS?
Well, I think we always need the MLS for a number of reasons. One is we're providing the best data possible, right? So we know everything that's on the market that's available for our buyer clients, and plus a slew of additional services that we offered, whether it's Remind for research, public data, room view, and so many other things that Gina's working on.
Yeah, there's that, and then of course there's the syndication process that we do. Function that we perform, I should say, including IDX. IDX stays with us. An enormous number of reasons why we still need an MLS to run the market. The market is still going to be dependent upon the MLS.
I tend to agree. I think that all the other platforms that we syndicate to are add-ons, but the best data, getting the right information, and having the ability to communicate with those listing agents is all coming through the MLS. Taking that into account, it's such a skills market today. You know, educating yourself, having our brokers educate their team members, I think, is of the utmost importance moving forward, being able to navigate through the changes in the industry.
We will provide a series of sessions going forward, and have been doing that as we've been talking about this, that will help our members understand how to use these new forms and how to navigate the new world, quite frankly.
If you take a look outside the settlement, the silver lining is that we have an opportunity now to really show our value as buyer agents and be compensated accordingly.